So that shiny new game just came out, South of Midnight, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game for some first impressions. Keep in mind this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. Everything I'll be talking about happened within 1.5 hours of starting the game, so I'll show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. Okay, so this video won't be too long, and I'll give most of my thoughts right away before getting into the game itself a little bit. I think this game has a fantastic art direction, and the story is actually interesting too. However, I was bored while playing the actual game. The combat is fairly simple, and the rest is platforming mostly. I just wasn't that drawn into the gameplay. That is my opinion though. Some of you may absolutely love this game. This game is quite short too, I think around 7 to 9 hours to beat. And one last thing, the performance. On PC, it started out great for me, but then about, I think chapter 3, I began having bad 1% lows. My average FPS would be over 200, but my 1% lows kept going down to 50, 60, 80, just over and over, which left it feeling quite stuttery. Game performance is something that will probably be fixed in future updates though. I'm not going to fully explain everything in this game, so let's just start with the hurricane then. So it comes by and it sweeps away Hazel's house, with her mom still in it. Hazel runs after it, and when she catches up to it, falls into the water. I think she actually died, but then came back to life, like a respawn. Her mom may or may not believe her to be dead also, as she saw her fall into the water. She loses track of the house, and then decides to go to her estranged grandma's for help. However, all her grandma does is leave her locked in a room. While asleep, Hazel enters some kind of weird dream world or alternate dimension. I'm not quite sure what happens here, but at the very end, before she wakes up, it seems like her mom is floating in water, and then some long claw grabs her mom and pulls her out. So maybe her mom is still alive, maybe her mom is a captive, I don't know. So Hazel escapes her room and finds a couple items in a chest in the attic of her grandma's house. They look like climbing ice axes. Apparently it can be used to control some form of magic, strands in particular. It turns out that Hazel is a weaver, which is someone who can control that stuff. As you continue in the game, you unlock more and more magic abilities. Here's a few of them. You can push, pull, and freeze enemies. You can also use magic in other scenarios, like a magic glider, or making temporary objects to walk on. There is also an upgrade tree, where you can upgrade your magical abilities or unlock new ones. You do so by collecting floofs, which is floating blue orbs of energy just scattered around that you can find. This game isn't open world, you just follow the path. There is a few areas that are a bit more open though. Besides those magical abilities I already mentioned, for combat you can also hit enemies with your axes or hold it down for a bigger attack. You can dodge too, but there's no deflecting or defending. So far I've only ever had combat in areas that have a purple shimmer around it. Once you enter that area, enemies will spawn. I've seen 4 or 5 different types of enemies so far. The enemies are easy to defeat. The only trouble is several attacking at once, which makes it harder, but still not too hard. Once you defeat an enemy, you need to unravel it, which I guess fully kills it. I'm actually unsure here, as I never left one just sitting there. I always unraveled it. Once all enemies are dead, you can then unravel the main infected orb that's just sitting there. That will remove all of the infected looking areas and make it look normal again. Because of her new powers as a weaver, she's seen ghosts from the past and is even transported to some kind of different realm temporarily. From this point on, I learned more magical abilities, I platformed, and then I killed enemies in those specific areas. Eventually, I came across a big catfish that can talk and is hanging from a tree. The tree actually has a spirit in it that is holding onto the catfish. You go through a whole ordeal of killing enemies and bottling up painful memories before you get the tree itself to release a catfish. The catfish then agrees to help you and takes you along the river to help you find your mom. Eventually, they come across a big gator and the catfish wants you to scare it off before they go on. This is also when I got off the game, which is the beginning of chapter 4. This game has a nice southern charm to it. The art style is great, the story is even interesting, but like I said before, I'm just not personally into the gameplay of it. I found it a little tedious and boring. Overall, get the game if you think it fits you, as there's some good stuff here, but this game just isn't for me, and I probably won't continue on with it, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.